Coming up.
I'm pretty sure you were giving someone the finger.
I wasn't expecting that.
Have you been invited back?
How do you say that?
I think I might know what it is.
Couldn't even scuba dive in the pool.
No. It's fascinating to hear people's lead-in lines.
United by a common purpose.
Why did I say that? What an idiot.
No, read the words on the page.
So we really want to hear that, and you're just like, what?
Enshrined in the darkest of caves.
Well, I feel like there's some pressure now.
Help!
I was getting a Sean Bean vibe.
Clock one and go for it. And now, enjoy the podcast.
How do you say that?
How do you say that?
How do you say that?
How do you say that? Hello and welcome to today's episode of How Do You Say That, sponsored by BritishVoiceover.co.uk. It's the podcast for voiceovers, podcasters and frankly anyone else who reads a script out loud, proving, I hope, that there isn't just one way to read a script, but a multitude of different ways. Let me introduce my lovely co-host, Sam Boffin. Hello, Sam.
Hi, Mark.
Now, today's fun fact about Sam is that she's very claustrophobic. Hang on a minute. You do most of your life in a small booth.
I know, and it does sometimes worry me, I have to say. I actually, when I told you that I was claustrophobic, I couldn't work out whether very claustrophobic or claustrophobic were the same things. I mean, you either are or you're not claustrophobic.
I guess, yeah.
I tried one year when I was I was on Kids TV and I was meant to be learning how to scuba dive.
Right.
And I literally couldn't even scuba dive in the pool. Gosh. I couldn't put my face underwater.
Yeah.
And I couldn't wear the weight belts or anything, so that was a dead loss. I couldn't do it.
Wow. That is quite claustrophobic. Yeah.
We're all on phobias this week because my co-host is Mark Rise, who has a lifelong phobia of wasps.
I do. I really do. Absolutely.
So how did that all start?
I remember it vividly. I was walking down the beach with my mum and my aunt, and I was holding my aunt's hand. I was about 4.5, something like that. Hot summer's day, walking down the beach. I had a sticky bun. You know, one of those ones with icing on the top. And I'd just taken a bite and I was chewing and a wasp landed on my lip. And I knew I couldn't open my mouth in case it went into my mouth, but I was worried it might go up my nose. And I was pulling my aunt's hand going, and they didn't notice at all because they were so in conversation. So, no, it didn't in the end. It flew off. Okay. But I think that has, just reliving it has made me go cold.
Yeah, actually, that must have been terrifying for a little boy.
Yeah, not nice. Well, of course, we also have a special guest, and this week it's Scott Tunnix. Hello, Scott.
Hello. Thank you guys very much for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Oh, well, hopefully it will live up to your expectation. I know that you've listened to a lot of episodes.
I have. In preparation, I've listened to the entire back catalogue, so...
Excellent. In which case, you're going to be our best guest ever, no pressure.
Oh, well.
Oh, my God. Well, yes, absolutely. So... Scott is a multi-award nominated voice actor specialising in video games, animation, commercial and corporate. That's a wide-ranging lot of stuff. So he's worked on over 150 video game titles and series, including Harry Potter, Jurassic World, Call of Duty, Vampire Survivors and Apex Legends.
Big names, yeah.
And he's also worked for household names like Warner Brothers, Microsoft, Ferrari, Nestle, Garmin, Kellogg's. Gosh, the list goes on. Cadbury, Discovery Plus and many, many more.
That is a blue chip list, absolutely.
Very.
Scott's also an award-nominated audio producer working on a number of animation and video game projects, and he specialises in creating video game showreels for voice actors through his production company, Unreal Audio.
Ooh.
So, Scott, do you have a fun fact you can share with us?
Well, I do have a fun fact. It wasn't fun at the time, but looking back on it, I'm just about able to smile. So in my very first in-person voiceover session, so you know the advice that people always give, don't touch the mic is the one thing they say.
Yes.
I kind of went against that and ended up spilling an entire bottle of water over the microphone.
Oh, no.
Yeah, all over the table, all over the cables, the interface, and then fortunately splashed up the side of the microphone too, a very nice U87.
Have you been invited back?
I haven't. No, I haven't. I was distraught, of course, very embarrassed. And the engineer ran in and he tried to help me mop it up.
Oh, my God. Let's hope nothing like that happens this evening. So let's have a look at our first script of the show and ask, how do you say that?
How do you say that? All right, so this is something I worked on relatively recently. It's another fabulous corporate script, people.
Whoop, 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 whoop.
Like we did last week, I'm just pulling them out. This is kind of standard e-learning, but it is very cyber security minded. Okay, I've changed the name of the company. The company's name wasn't Bridge to start with. But I think a lot of companies do this security awareness training. It's for their employees. So we know who it's for. So they will sit down and they'll be told to watch this and have to maybe answer questions on it at the end. Otherwise, they don't get to do their jobs, that kind of thing.
Okay, it's also got one of my absolutely hated phrases in it.
Oh, lovely. I love those. Which is? Or are you going to wait for us to spot it?
Yeah, I'll wait for you to spot it.
Okay.
I can see two.
I think I might know what it is, but I'm going to wait until you've done it. Scott, any questions from you?
Well, I just had one, and it was just about the wording on the line, to keep data we handle safe. Now, for me, I would feel more natural saying to keep the data we handle safe. And it doesn't have a the in there. So I just wondered whether that's just me.
It doesn't. I can tell you that this client probably wouldn't have minded that change. So if it feels more natural to throw it in, this client wouldn't have minded. But we all have clients that go, no, read the words on the page.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So in this case, we're probably okay with that. So Sam, do you want to go first?
Yes, I'll try and be very sensible about it.
But not too dull.
Not too sensible, no, exactly. Hello and welcome to Bridge's Security Awareness Training. Scary, right? Maybe you've been impacted by one of these breaches. Maybe you've had to deal with personal identity theft as a result. At Bridge, we're accountable to our clients and to ourselves to keep data we handle safe. We don't want to be the next bullseye. At Bridge, we need to protect personally identifiable information, or PII, protected health information, or PHI, intellectual property. This is our secret sauce. Client agreements and other sensitive Bridge internal documents.
You were a lot more friendly than I was in
Really?
it, I have to say.
Well, do you know why? Because I think they had scary, right? And we don't want to be the next bullseye. That's why I thought it's got to be quite light.
Indeed. No, good. Was intellectual property the thing you hated?
No.
Oh. Scott, any ideas?
Well, for me, it's the right, the scary right. That question at the beginning, particularly on the word right, it's a pet peeve of mine. Probably not what Sam was thinking, though.
I don't like the term secret sauce.
Don't tell Claire Reeves that.
No, she's probably listening now. I'm so sorry, Claire. I just don't like the term. It makes me think of ketchup everywhere.
It does seem a bit out of place next to such long, protected health information, personally identifiable information, and then secret sauce.
Secret sauce.
It is in inverted commas, though.
That's true.
I know. Anyway, enough of that.
Let's see how Scott does it. Scott, would you like to give it a go?
Yes, absolutely. Hello, and welcome to Bridge's Security Awareness Training. Scary, right? Maybe you've been impacted by one of these breaches. Maybe you've had to deal with personal identity theft as a result. At Bridge, we're accountable to our clients and to ourselves to keep the data we handle safe. We don't want to be the next bullseye. At Bridge, we need to protect personally identifiable information, or PII, protected health information, or PHI, intellectual property. This is our secret sauce. Client agreements, and other sensitive Bridge internal documents.
Yeah, nice.
That.
I think lighter than I would have done it, to be honest.
But lovely and personable. And I really liked your, we don't want to be the next bullseye.
Yes. Yeah.
It's a funny old sentence, that, I think.
It's either a threat or you're kind of on the side of the people listening. And I feel that's the way with these scripts quite often, these cybersecurity ones, where you're either, threatening them, you've been impacted by one of these, or you're on the side of the staff and you're kind of, we don't want to get impacted by these. So I like to try and go towards the kind of on your side rather than the threatening.
Both of you went on your side. The producer told me the other way. So I'm going to show you the other way of that.
Oh, wow. Okay, I can see that, yeah.
Neither of you left a particular pause when the news clips fly in. That's fair, but I'm not sure that necessarily meant that you reacted as if you had seen the scary news clips.
Oh, okay.
Because they were news
yeah.
clips kind of going, people get fired because breach here, left, right and centre, or people lose
It's like
money,
a little
XYZ.
interlude between...
Yeah, a little
Okay.
bit, yeah.
So was it up sound?
Yeah.
Oh, I just thought it was some crazy thing where they just kind of, it was just a little
Fair
kind
enough.
of gap that would have
But
to
you
be-
didn't ask that
Okay.
question.
No, you're right, I didn't.
Okay, let's give it a go. Hello and welcome to Bridges Security Awareness Training. Scary, right? Maybe you've been impacted by one of these breaches. Maybe you've had to deal with personal identity theft as a result. At Bridge, we're accountable to our clients and to ourselves to keep data we handle safe. We don't want to be the next bullseye. At Bridge, we need to protect personally identifiable information, or PII, protected health information, or PHI, intellectual property. This is our secret sauce. Client agreements and other sensitive Bridge internal documents.
Yeah.
Oh, very
I can see.
authoritative.
Darker.
It was, wasn't it? I can see what they mean about you could do it either way. My instinct went, I suspect that, well, it did. It went the wrong way. But I can see how it does definitely work that way round.
I feel like there's two words in there that change the view on how you might read this, for me anyway. And it's the very first word. It's the hello.
Yeah, because all those clues that we took from the script, the hello, the scary right, the bullseye, the secret sauce, the other kind of lighter weight, seemingly lighter weight stuff, were all the wrong clues in many ways.
I feel like this is also one of those scripts where the music would really help inform the tone of the read.
Yes.
Having that.
And I did hear I didn't know what music they were going with beforehand, but I did hear a finished version, and it was the much darker, threatening kind of thing. Play, how do you say that?
It's worthwhile remembering that these are real scripts that we're working on today, but we've changed names and some details to avoid copyright issues.
We have indeed. Now, Scott, this is an interesting script you've brought. Could you tell us a little bit about it, please?
Yes, I can. So I thought I would bring something that is much closer to what maybe 60, 70% of my work is, and it's sort of character reads or something just further away from the corporate side of things.
Sure.
So this is promoting a festival in Croatia that is kind of like I want to say like a large-scale LARP, like a live-action role play, where everyone's dressing up as fantasy creatures.
So if it's like an advert promo, that kind of thing, is it a narrator announcer style, or is it a character?
Up to us, I think.
Okay.
That's for you guys to interpret, and I will reveal all.
Interesting. Sam, am I going first or are you going first?
You're going first, mate.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'll give you what I got from it to start with. So we think it's Cres, something like that.
Cres. With that T in there, but it's very difficult.
I'll see where it goes. All right. For thousands of years, we have slumbered, concealed within the ancient shores of Cres, veiled by the forests, shrouded in the seas, enshrined in the darkest of caves. But now, the time has come for the gathering. From every corner of the realm they come, united by a common purpose, driven by the call of destiny. For all paths lead to the Isle of Wonders.
Well, I wasn't expecting that.
Towards the end, you were really going for it there. I feel like you were on your way to the Isle of Wonders.
Whoa! There was an evilness to the early part of it. Was that a meant thing?
I wasn't necessarily thinking evil. Maybe Viking-esque.
Well, that's what I like about it, is there is so many different ways that you could read
it.
So it's and what the client wanted, we actually went back and did two slightly different variations on that, and I'll tell you about those in a few moments. But I just thought it was a good one because there are lots of different ways that you could deliver this.
It's a particularly interesting one because you could go so many different ways with this.
True.
I think I'd have to think really carefully about this if I was doing an audition for this, because you'd want to be able to come at it with completely different character ideas, actually. Yeah. It's one of those ones where you'd have to record one day and then get that out of your head to come back and record a completely different one.
Unfortunately, Sam, you only get one choice.
No, I know. I only get one choice, so I'll have to plump for the
Pluck
for the
one
choice
and go for it. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. For thousands of years, we have slumbered, concealed within the ancient shores of Cres, veiled by the forests, shrouded in the seas, enshrined in the darkest of caves. But now, the time has come for the gathering. From every corner of the realm they come, united by a common purpose, driven by the call of destiny. For all paths lead to the Isle of Wonders.
I love that.
I loved that. And Sam, you actually went for what I was hoping you might, which was a very sort of Lord of the Rings intro, the narration. I don't know if it's Galadriel, the character that's narrating, but it was very much in that sort of ballpark. That sounded fantastic.
For me, I think it just built and built and built, but there was a dark threatening to the character in the very first line when you said, "We have slumbered," and it's almost Whovian in a way, and I know you'll appreciate that, Sam.
I always appreciate hooving in things.
Like a monster. I was kind of thinking sea devils in a way.
Oh, goodness.
You know, just a quiet uprising.
Well, I feel like there's some pressure now. So it was just like this.
To be fair, you
for
brought
thousands
that
of years we have slumbered, concealed.
A little imp.
The style for this was kind of an ancient old wizard, and so I'll go ahead and give you my read. I have a lead-in line, so you can cut this, Mark, if you like.
No. It's fascinating to hear people's lead-in lines.
Okay.
Ah, yes. Well, it might just ruin the suspense then, you see. Ah, yes, a very old voice. For thousands of years we have slumbered, concealed within the ancient shores of Tunnix, veiled by the forests, shrouded in the seas, enshrined in the darkest of caves. But now the time has come for the gathering. From every corner of the realm they come, united by a common purpose, driven by the call of destiny. For all paths lead to the Isle of Wonders.
It was very much an older person's voice. I love the whistle in the teeth as well, but as older people sometimes have.
Completely different from your normal voice. It's
very much so.
I could really see him, that
too.
ancient man. That was brilliant.
Yeah.
The first read that I did was kind of more in the direction that Mark went, so it was much more exciting and out there. And so the very end of it, I was, off the edge of my seat.
From every corner of the realm they come, united by a common purpose, for all paths lead to the Isle of Wonders.
Then they had the visuals as well, and they showed me the visuals, and the visuals are, this old wizard who sort of sat by a fire smoking a pipe. And so it's certainly for the first part, it's very much
for thousands of years we have slumbered.
Yes, I loved that.
But then, whereas the first time I read it, it was, now the time has come for the gathering. It was still very much,
now the time has come for the gathering.
So it was still very much in that sort of lower, without that excitement sort of going on. And right through towards the end of the read as well, it was very controlled rather than sort of letting it become too epic.
Scott did not go for the epic at the end. You slightly went for the epic, and I really went for the epic at the end. So it was three very different ways of looking at it. Fantastic script.
How do you say that?
Here is the moment we love. We have a chance to reinterpret that. It's the wild card bit. So let's see if we can approach these scripts in a very different way.
Yeah.
So Scott, you lucky man, can you pick one of these scripts for Mark and give him something new to do with it?
I can, and I will pick the script that I brought along, and I will give you the wild card as follows. I would love to hear this as a snooty butler who has been locked inside an industrial freezer.
Okay, I'll give it a go. So, snooty butler in a locked freezer.
Yeah.
Okay. For thousands of years, we have slumbered, concealed within the ancient shores of Cres, failed by the forests. Help! Shrouded in the seas, enshrined in the darkest of caves. Help! But now the time has come for the gathering. From every corner of the realm they come, united by a common purpose, driven by the call of destiny. For all paths lead to the Isle of Wonders.
I
Were you
feel like
stuck in
you've
there?
just accepted that you're never getting out.
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
those
that's
might have
exactly
been your
what
final
happened.
words.
And why it had happened to him.
Yes. So you'd been locked in there by Birdie Wooster.
Yeah, exactly.
I was expecting you to go more Jeeves with that, I must
Okay.
admit.
Yep.
But yes, I felt you were banging on the door at various points.
I was.
I feel like for
Yeah.
the start you were banging on the door, and by
Yeah,
the middle
exactly.
your energy had been sapped, and you were
Yeah.
kind of slumped on the floor,
Yes.
accepting your
Dying in the
fate.
ice.
For me, now the time's come for the gathering, suddenly you realise that something horrible's gone on and you can't do anything about it.
Yes, and perhaps you're better off being in there.
Maybe. Ooh, scary, scary, scary. Oh, lovely one. Thank you for that, Scott. That was fun. All right, so Sam, do you want to suggest one for Scott?
Yes. Scott, you're going to be a potter, a man who throws pots.
Oh.
Okay.
Yes.
I was only watching the Great Pottery Throwdown
There
yesterday.
you go. And you are in the process of throwing a clay pot. So you're on one of those. It's like Ghost, isn't it? Where we're doing
Yes.
all sorts of, but not with the the other bit of Ghost. You're by yourself in this particular instance. Yes, but you're working that potter's wheel.
Okay. And sorry, which script am I doing?
Oh, that's true. Always useful to be told what script you've got. Well, actually, I'd like you to do your script
Ooh.
Okay.
because I'd like you to be able to reinterpret it as a potter at a wheel.
Sure. Okay. And I might put a bit of a character spin on this if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Good. Exactly so.
Okay. Let's give it a go.
For thousands of years we have slumbered, concealed within the ancient shores of Cres. Yeah, veiled by the forests, shrouded in the seas, enshrined in the darkest of caves, right? But now the time has come for... If you'll just pass that. The time has come for the gathering. Now, from every corner of the realm they come, united by a common purpose, driven by driven by the call of destiny, for all paths lead to the Isle of Wonders. What do you make of that, eh?
Nice. I was getting an Ian McKellen vibe there.
I was getting a Sean Bean vibe.
Is pottery a northern thing? Probably not.
Sometimes it just comes out, doesn't it? It's like, I could see the wheel going round. I
I
had the
could.
wheel in my mind, and
could.
you pushing the thumbs into the clay there.
I could see the pot being formed. It was a joy to behold. Yeah, no, I really like that. It was great. Had lots of movement in it. We found, it's really interesting, Scott, we found that if you just taking a character isn't enough in some ways for the wild cards. By putting a movement or an action or something onto it, it makes it...
Yeah, and I
can make it
totally
far
feel
more
that
vivid.
because you go with just one or the other, then you're
Yeah.
kind of restricted in what you can do. But as soon as you give them, you know, a character and an action as well, it opens so many more possibilities. That was a lot of fun.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
wait until I give Sam
Oh my
hers.
God, what are you going to give me? Oh my, why did I say that? What an
Well,
idiot.
you know.
What a fool.
Well, I would like you to be a very blunt person,
Hmm.
but you're late and you're sitting in a traffic jam and you're getting more and more and more annoyed. It's an internal monologue, this, but it's getting angrier
Right. Okay. Blunt, getting angrier. Okay. Which one?
And I think it's script 1. I think it's
Okay.
the security awareness training.
Right. Okay. Hello. Welcome to Bridges Security Awareness Training. Scary. Right. Look, maybe you've been impacted by one of these breaches. Maybe you've had to deal with personal identity theft. Yeah, as a result. Oh, God, at Bridge, we are accountable to our clients and to ourselves to keep data we handle safe. We don't want to be the next bullseye. At Bridge, we need to protect personally identifiable, yes, you mate, information, or PII, yes. Protected health information, or PHI, intellectual property. This is our secret source. Client agreements. And other sensitive Bridge internal documents.
On the line, impacted by one of these breaches, I'm pretty sure you were giving someone the finger.
I did,
I could
yes.
hear your head turn, so I...
I was,
Yeah.
indeed.
Yeah. And that
Yes.
really did come across, Scott. Absolutely.
I don't know. That's
Well,
what it was.
I'm impressed at how you managed to hold yourself back a little bit there.
Really?
Because I would have been bust a blood vessel, I think.
It sounded a lot like someone had just phoned you and said, look, Sam, you were supposed to have recorded this. We need it done now. Can we just turn the camera on your phone and record it? And you were kind of making the company training video in the car. That was great.
Yeah, great. We need it now, Sam.
Yeah,
Just do it now.
I like it. Because the anger really built there.
Yes, well, and of course, if you want to play along in the privacy of your own booths, we put these very scripts in the very show notes so you can have a try yourself.
Yes, you can. And our question this week is, Scott, here's one for you. When you're developing a new character for a game, where do you start? Is it the visuals that inform you, the script, the description, or do you have something completely different that you think about?
Yeah, there's a couple of things. I think because we don't always get visuals, and so they're nice to have, but for the most part, it's the genre and the context of the game itself. Is it high fantasy? Is it a modern action game? Is it a cozy game, or whatever it might be? And so that normally informs the sort of that starting point in terms of the tone. But normally, particularly with video games, clients are fairly good at having a pretty good idea of what this character is all about. And, unlike a corporate script or a commercial, with video game characters, animation characters, you often get a detailed backstory that's got far more information than you actually need. When it's like his favorite color is blue and he has 2 left feet, and
Yes.
so
How's that ever going to come out?
exactly. And it's even worse when you're on a call, when you're in a session with a client and they give you feedback like that. They give you direction to say, yes, Scott, that's great. Just remember though, he's got a nose ring in, okay? So and his shoes are red. So we really want to hear that. And you're just like, what?
Oh, okay, yeah.
But for the most part, I mean, the context of the game itself and where it's set sort of, for me anyway, help form that character from the start.
So very much the character breakdown.
Yes, absolutely. But from there, and what I love to do is give clients something, and I do this when I audition, and I always try to give clients something they don't know they want. So I'll give them the take that they've asked for, or something with the direction that they've given me. But then I love to try something completely different. And quite often they end up loving that or whatever it might be, and then going with that or some sort of variation on that, or saying, let's bring some of these characteristics over into what we'd originally envisioned. But that's how I like to start with the character. But of course, script, once you add that on top, and as you said, visuals, if you have those as well, they all help to sort of build on that. But the very starting point for me, it's mostly about sort of context of the game, what's happening, where it's happening, and the very detailed character breakdown.
You're talking about bringing choices, into the room, as it were. The more fully rounded, fully thought through choices that you can bring.
Absolutely.
The more,
and what you often find is you get, when you've been cast as a main character or a character with a significant amount of dialogue, quite often they'll get you to voice a number of other characters, some minor characters, some NPCs or non-player characters. And that's where you really get to have some fun, because those are normally, there's much more flexibility in terms of what they sound like and what they're doing. So you get to have loads of fun there. And quite often they'll then bring an element of that back or say, oh, that would sound really good with this character. Or you might get a call back in a couple of days and say, hey, you did a voice for an NPC, but actually we'd love to give that voice to this character.
Wow, that's so cool. So, and do you play a lot of games?
I used to, yeah. I used to play before children. I used to play an awful lot, and now they, of course, take all the time, as does work. And, as I said before, I'm kind of in my studio maybe 9-10 hours a day, 6 days a week, sometimes 7. I'm a bit of a workaholic.
You are a bit of a workaholic.
Or you're just getting away from the kids. I mean, it's one or the other.
That's the secret.
Some real gold-plated tips in there, Scott. Thank you so much, Scott Tunnix. A reminder that all of Scott's details can be found in the show notes. I hope you've enjoyed it.
I've had a blast. Thank you so much for having me, guys. It's been so much fun.
It's been fantastic. And we will also be putting today's scripts in the show notes so that you can have a read yourself.
Okay, that's it for this week. Thanks again to Scott Tunnix. We will be back next week with more scripts and another voiceover guest when we'll be asking...
How do you say that?
How do you say that?